What up, y'all? All right? Y'all tuned in to John the Nubian Winner right now. You know what I'm saying? Peace and love to my people. Rahu Bahotep, Panefer Maditat. You know what I'm saying? This is about the beautiful words of encouragement and healing. You know what I'm saying? To my people who are the cosmosians. You know what I'm saying? A brother, you know what I'm saying? Just want to get on here right now and build with my people. You know what I'm saying? And talk about, some knowledge itself that's relevant in this time that we living in. You know what I'm saying? So as far as me remembering the purity in which I'm created in, I would like to utilize my time loyal to that divine remembrance. You know what I'm saying? Because once upon a time, you know what I'm saying? A brother, you know what I'm saying, was, out cold. But that brother, then slowed down and thought about some few things. And I thought about some things that caused me to say, you know what? Change is good. You know what I'm saying? So here we are, you know what I'm saying? The guy's bill. And I just want to, reflect on a few things, though, dealing with knowledge itself. Because it appears, you know what I'm saying, that it's like, 24/7. You know what I'm saying? This war of good and evil is continuously going on and on and on. So for us who are considering ourselves the righteous, by us identifying, you know what I'm saying, with righteousness, right? May we find ourselves, you know what I'm saying? Let me get this lighting right. Hold on. May we find ourselves, you know what I'm saying, in a winning position where we can continue to have clarity of mind to make sense of the way that we move to justify our lifestyle. Being on the right path, right? Now, mind you, the job of the evil one, right? The job of the evil one, right, is to get us, you know what I'm saying, off of the right path, right? That's the job of the evil one, right? Now, since the job of the evil one is to get us off of the right path, we have to be on our square and P's and Q's to stay on the right path with the proper connection with the Most High while we live, striving for perfection, leading to paradise on this side and the other side. Now, mind you, there has been, right, get this lighting right, there has been what's called the falsification of Nubian consciousness, or the falsification of African consciousness, the falsification of Akibulanian consciousness, or the falsification of Black people's consciousness, or the falsification of indigenous people's consciousness, or the falsification of Negroid stock of people's consciousness for the purpose of certain colonial powers and imperialistic powers to gain a foothold in the indigenous people's land to where the cultures of the indigenous people has been ransacked, burglarized, destroyed, history rewritten, to the point where a lot of our people, we have a history of being victimized by colonizers who committed crimes against humanity. Now, as a people without sanctuary for long periods of time, was not in a position to get ourselves together as far as realigning ourselves with our true culture and nation building concepts. But now we are in an era of time today, here in 2025, where we're in a better position to reclaim and reacquaint ourselves with the supreme wisdom of our way of civilization as far as getting back to nation building. Now, yet we we appear to be living in what's called an insane asylum, where certain sectors of society is insane, yet they think they not insane by living certain lifestyles that they find themselves living that's detrimental to their brothers and sisters or own people as a result of being under spells of ignorance by that has been cast through the conditioning of certain psychological experts who is connected with certain scientists and sciences, to orchestrate a certain fabric of behavior among certain people of color throughout the communities, to where they have created a whole new species of individuals who basically is products of certain cloning projects other than the original people, to where the original people has been grafted into a whole new mentality by these manufacturers of a negative slave mentality, so to speak, that has been inculcated in the mind of the slave-minded individual known as brainwashed Negroes, who have lost the knowledge of themselves to the point to where they have turned into being yes men and women for certain masters that created them to be that way in the first place. Now, mind you, back to the point when I was talking about, there has been a process called the falsification of black people's consciousness, to the point where how can you be a people who have gone through certain historical atrocities that we have gone through, that was caused by the hands of certain racist forces, right? Find ourselves being in love with the same abusers that abused our people in the first place, to where our people have something called the Stockholm Syndrome, where they have fallen in love with their abusers, or where you have certain traits in men and women in the black community that, say for instance, like we have black on black crime, black on black dysfunction, black on black issues that is volatile and hostile amongst ourselves, to where we shouldn't want to be around that kind of behavior, But yet you find our people in relationships that's dysfunctional with that behavior, where they still got a twisted love for one another instead of getting away from them toxic individuals that's causing certain pain and suffering and dysfunction. Like a woman in an abusive relationship, like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad spoke about in the message to the black man, including the black woman, right? To where like our people is like a woman in an abusive relationship, to where no matter how bad the abuser, the abuser abuses her, or our people still find some kind of way to sympathize with the abuser and be on the abuser's side, when a person in a right mind in the face of an abuser, right, in a right mind would want to seek a remedy to get away from that abuser and get into a healthy environment where they can grow and thrive as a person or individual or nation. But yet, we are in a society of multiculturalism that's full of twisted likings. You know what I'm saying? To where, by, say for instance, me, myself in particular, right? I pride myself by reclaiming, being in tune with my true culture and folk ways and um, cultural norms that reflect me being in my right mind. Like, I'm being myself through knowledge itself, right? But yet, due to the falsification of African consciousness or Nubian consciousness or Nuwabian consciousness, where nowadays Nuwabians can't be enslaved, we can't be enslaved, or the falsification of certain tribes, native indigenous tribes on these shores or wherever we may find ourselves as copper colored people, right? The falsification of our consciousness has been done to such a major degree, we find ourselves confused. But yet, sleeping giants, you know what I'm saying, who have the capability of waking up. Waking up to what? Waking up to who we really are as a people, against the falsification of our consciousness that cause us to end up being docile in mind and character, with our pineal glands retarded. You know what I'm saying? So, for the sake of international unification, for the sake of global awakening, for the sake of from the ghettos all the way to overseas, for the sake of getting knowledge itself as a tool to help cultivate our mind with eye-opening information that strengthen us and give us power and empower us wherever we may find ourselves in the process of things that's going on at home and abroad, geopolitically. Not mind you, the the correction of the Nubian consciousness, or the correction of the African consciousness, or the correction that is to take place within our mindsets, right, will be structured around knowledge itself, getting us back in tune with what's called the myocracy. We've been exposed to certain forms of governments since we've been born, you know what I'm saying, on this planet. We have been exposed to certain norms here in the United States of America. And we know the history of a lot of black struggle, striving for freedom, justice, equality. You know what I'm saying? salvation here in the United States of America through love, through truth, peace, you know what I'm saying, and fights for freedom against unrighteous forces that can be analyzed from a warfare strategic perspective to see how to get right instead of seeing or repeating the history of where we went wrong at, to repeat what works to keep us from being in certain all these like situations, circumstances, and influences where, you know, like black people in servile character positions instead of leadership roles. You know what I'm saying? So remember the purity in which you was created in, minus the falsification ideologies that inferiorize our minds into an inferiority complex when ain't nothing inferior about us as a majority people on the planet. So due to the word spells and conditionings of our minds that seem to have gained ground over the years, causing us to be in a weak, debilitated state politically, to where it seems certain imperialistic forces um, think it can continue to feed or be a where those certain imperialistic forces think they can continue to just feed off of that unconscious state and weak emotional state of a lot of our people who has been victims of the debilitating effects of the brutalities of slavery and the psychological raping of a lot of our people due to the brainwashing, right? That has came to an end, right? But yet we have to do a lot of work psychologically to really eradicate the effects of those particular kind of experiences that our people experience through uh, certain time zones, to where those experiences have gotten into the DNA blood of their descendants, to where we find ourselves mentally still locked up in chains that has to be broken, as far as the psychological chains of that enslavement, right? So striving for political power here in the United States of America, you know, let's look at the terminologies, you know what I'm saying, regarding, let's get a working definition of what power means to us in the United States of America. Now we see, you know, during the Trump administration, we just seen a lot of shifts in power, to where a lot of people dissatisfied who've been dissatisfied with the Biden administration appear to be more satisfied now that Trump, you know what I'm saying, is in office, with the cabinet that he has in his administration meeting certain needs of the people to turn around the fall that America was actually taking, where it was a saying like when the honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan made an enunciation about the fall of America. Can she advert it? Can she? MAGA, make America great again. So since America is being since Donald Trump appearing to be the CEO of the corporation of the United States of America, right? Spearheading the idea to make America great again. Once again, is that an indication that America has taken a fall from being great to be great again? Indicate that there have been some kind of decline as a sign. So when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad wrote the book, The Fall of America, may we ascertain the wisdom in that book and do the best we can to position ourselves in the position to where we find ourselves on the right side of history and the right side with the Creator, the Most High, by whatever name you want to call the Most High through the knowledge of self teachings. Still, may we be empowered to be on the right side to where we listen to same voices amongst darkness in an environment of people who don't have certain guidance. These certain people, like, for instance, these certain people in politics, right? These certain people in politics, where a lot of us give a lot of time and energy, with our hopes and with our hopes, right, put in man. When the Creator told us, don't forget the purity in which you was created in, and put all your trust in me, and I will direct your path, right? So, in our paths being directed by the guidance of the Most High, we will be in we will be in good standing. So I'm trying to find this particular point that I wanted to make, right? Regarding how did we get here and where are we going as a people? You know what I'm saying? Some, brother Dawood, you know what I'm saying? With his delivery, talking about, this deep shit that we in, how we gonna get out of it, you know what I'm saying? I can relate, because we is in some deep shit that we got to get up out of. But who created the mess that has to be cleaned up? The Holy Quran say, man has surely been in loss. You know what I'm saying? So instead of being lost, how can we end up with the right GPS system spiritually to know where to go? Where's we going? Where's we supposed to be going? Where's we being led to through the guidance of this superpower, the United States of America? Where are we going? You know what I'm saying? People so under the spell of the dollar bill. What is money teaching any of us? We find ourselves trying to get the money, all the money in the world. We can have it, right? But where is our spiritual mental mind state taking us to where money can never take us? You know what I'm saying? This existence is spiritual. It's bigger than some money. All the riches lie in the word of the Most High regarding conditioning our spirits, you know what I'm saying, to be in tune with the cosmos of the Most High, the universe. So I advise y'all, take time out to really get to know the spiritual reality of this existence that we are living as human beings who are living this spiritual existence. You know what I'm saying? Being identified as gods who are children of the Most High Creator. You know what I'm saying? Because that is a reality for me. You know what I'm saying? A person can accept that or leave it alone. I'm just trying to make sense of that there is more to us than what's going on from what we've been fed in terms of all of this psychological cesspool of craziness, you know what I'm saying, that's going on to distract us from remembering the straight path, you know what I'm saying, that will benefit us dealing with the bigger picture of our human existence regarding our souls being saved. Okay, now, for instance, right, okay, I got a certain area that I wanted to build on, right? But I'm gonna start with, how did we get here? You know what I'm saying? And what is the true meaning of power, right? Let's make sense of this. All right, what is power, right? What is power? What is power? The definition of power are various, right? The definition of power are various and conflicting, right? This is due to mainly to the multifarious nature of power itself rather than due to its unreality or ephemeral spirit. Few, if any of us, doubt the reality of power and the tangible effects its application engenders. Our confusion as to its exact definition more likely flows from the fact that power, depending on context and circumstances, assumes ubiquitous shapes and forms, varying degrees of transparency and visibility, right? It is not our purpose here to untangle the web of power definitions. It is not necessary for us to do so. However, a review of a number of definitions of the several forms of power will provide an intuitive understanding of its essential meaning, which is all that is necessary to our mission. Now, here it is as a people, you know what I'm saying? What has the Congressional Black Congress accomplished for us as a people when it comes to us having power as a people, right? Power. What power do we find ourselves having collectively as a people through the black families with positive relationships with other races, peoples, and families, right? Where we have respect for one another, where we trade amongst one another in a way that is in agreement to our social interactions as far as like humanity growing to a certain level to where, you know, humanity's needs is met on a certain equality righteous level, as far as a righteous level of equality, right? Now, power comes with being with interactive. Power comes with being with interactive existence, with being alive. It is the essence of life and the motive force of growth and development uh, and of the adaptability of living things to environmental changes and demands. Power refers to the ability to do, the ability to be, the ability to prevail, beingness. and aliveness, or originate with power. To be powerless is to be willless, impotent, and lifeless, without effect or influence, to being nothing, of no account. Thus, we concur with this person when they contends that power is essential for all living things. Man, in particular, cast on this barren crust of earth eons ago with the hope and the requirement that he survive, finds he must use his powers and confront opposing forces at every point in his struggle with the earth and with his fellows. Now, dealing with the people of the planet, right? We all been exposed to the international realities of what done happened to all of us. White people's consciousness been falsified. Asian people's consciousness been falsified. All the races on the planet consciousness has been falsified to some degree or another by through the info wars of the information control by the mind manipulators who wanted to trigger confusion in the minds of the population of the masses of the planet to certain degrees, to where it still look like all the cultures on the planet is in a normal state of mind or mentality, to where they just live in their cultures. And this is how the cultures of the planet operate and do things, to where it just appears that ain't nothing wrong. It's just normal. Everybody is normal and in their right minds in society, just living life according to their own folk ways. But are we? You know what I'm saying? Through the United Nations, you know what I'm saying? Shouldn't the United Nations be what it say, United Nations? But the nations of the earth, with their specific sovereignty and independences, you know what I'm saying? A lot of them still is at odds with one another and still at war with one another. Yet the United Nations exists as a United Nations where it appeared that harmony exists amongst the nations of the earth. Now, with that said, right, dealing with politics, how did we get to all of this, these psychological differences, right? For starters, right? For starters, right? The Most High is the best of planners, the all. Yet, we as men and women, we have a responsibility to take action and do certain work that we are supposed to do that lines up with what's right to do, right? But are we doing that? Or are we just mentally cast away in the world of sport and play, being ineffective with selfish desires that is causing us to just be individuals who live according to our own desires without the remembrance of the bigger picture of the Most High's divine planning for our lives in a world where we have opponents of our rise spiritually that want to cause us to end up in hell. Now, mind you, a lot of us is living in hell while we live, as far as that being a state of mind and living condition, while others live in a state of heaven, and which is a living condition that they are in as well. So, dealing with the duality of the race schisms, that's at place. You know what I'm saying? For some of us, we really experiencing hell on earth in our pursuit of happiness to a better living condition and psychological state of existence toward ourselves and others. Now, for instance, right, us as a people, we come from a great Kemetic Nubian culture in Africa, in addition to the indigenous lands that we have roots through here in America and all over the globe, right? But for educational purposes only, right? There's this term or topic that goes into what's called the Inquisitions, right? Now, this particular reading material going into detail about what caused the Inquisitions. They say if you don't know history, you doomed to repeat it. So by me taking time out to learn certain things about history, right, where we went wrong, so we can let that serve us as an example not to go through anymore, so we don't repeat the process, right? Yet certain forces want to keep a lot of us ignorant. Ignore. They want us to continue to ignore certain information that require our attention to read it, right? Where we find ourselves ignorant, not knowing, where by us not knowing certain realities, it strips away from us the ability to act and guard ourselves against certain realities that can actually turn out to be a danger to us. We might be in danger, but we don't want to be victims of dangerous things that is geared toward us being in danger. So to get out of danger and out of harm's way, sometimes require, or most of the basically require knowledge, where you can have vision to be able to see danger before you end up in the danger through research and awareness. Because they say what you don't know can hurt you. This is serious. What you don't know can end up hurting you. So develop an appetite to want to know more regarding the relevancies and the societal scheme of things dealing with this geopolitical picture, right? Now, this going into what caused the Inquisitions, right? The Inquisitions was the Catholic tribunal charged with exposing and punishing religious unorthodoxy, right? The Inquisitions was the Catholic tribunal charged with exposing and punishing religious unorthodoxy. Now, dealing with these Catholic tribunals, right, of the Roman Catholic Church. Now, they have a belief system that's orthodox to them. So to try to control people's minds who don't think like them and calling what they thinking or believing in as unorthodoxy, right? They look at you like, okay, wait a minute. Something is wrong with that way of thinking. So they wanted to create an environment to control people's minds to the point where they say outside of the mind control that we program people's mind with, outside of that is unorthodox. But it's orthodox to be under the mind control teachings of what we deem as worthy to be carried into practice through this cultural orientation. Outside of that is unorthodox. Or they say outside of that exists Protestants, I guess, forces that go against they dogmatism, right? So with that said, this continues to read. The Inquisition itself emerged about 1200 AD. It was recorded the Inquisitions was due to mounting insecurity, weaknesses, and immorality in the Roman Catholic Church, which sounds accurate because why would you try to force a certain belief system that is questionable on people, where you can like do your own hypothesis on what they give you as the basis of the only road to God, so to speak, when it actually isn't. But yet that's what they push as orthodoxy from they school of thought and perspective of what they want to, as far as what they want a person to be converted into without questioning that orthodoxy, right? And it was recorded the Inquisitions was due to mounting insecurity, weaknesses, and immorality in the Roman Catholic Church. Now, what is the immorality history of the Roman Catholic Church as the standard model religious community in its relationship to the Creator, right? This is a question where we can do our own research and come up with certain insights, right? In the year 1184 AD, the first episcopal inquisition was organized by Pope Lucius III. He ordered bishops to make systematic inquiry into any activities that deviate from the official teachings of the church. Any person found marked by suspicion alone had to prove their innocence or be punished. Now, where this power or so-called power come from, which is a false power that these people in these particular Catholic positions regarding these bishops and things of this nature was prejudice in nature to just judge people like that by just trying to, like they say, in this sign we conquer. When your mind become conquered through this religious dogmatism that is truth mixed with falsehood based on the scriptures they justify their faith on, has been tampered with, like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad spoke about the Bible being a lot of our people's. It's like, in a perspective, you can understand the graveyard of our people because the mentally dead is there, where a lot of our people don't understand the real meanings of the information in the Bible, to where they have taken it for certain face value without decoding what it really means by a qualified mind such as like the Messenger and Panabab Yanun, Dr. Malachi Z. York, who come to set the record straight for us to be mentally resurrected into awakeness and alive in the mind with real life, to where we will be rightly guided and know our true position regarding who's who on the planet Earth, with knowledge and awareness of greater realities beyond the dogmatism of the Roman Catholic Church, right? Truth is truth, wherever it comes from. Whatever nationality of people is like communicating to us through truth, by all means, we accept that as something worthy to carry into to embrace in our life, as something that's not meant to deceive us, right? So back to this reading material. In the year 1184, right, the Episcopal Inquisition was organized by Pope Lucius III. He ordered bishops to make systemic inquiry into any activities that deviated from the official teachings of the church. Any person found marked by suspicion alone had to prove their innocence or be punished. Now, here in the United States, right, we have the Freedom of Religious Act clause, right, to where everybody can freely practice what religion they feel that is some where they feel, okay, that this is what I want to practice, and you're free to do so, protected by the laws of the land, right? And where you don't get persecuted for your religious beliefs. But yet we find people who is practicing certain righteous teachings being persecuted, where it appears that the Roman Catholic Church aim and purpose is alive and well in terms of how they think, being a product of what's considered the modern day Roman Empire. So, do people really love us, or people lying to us? Religious people who's supposed to have love in their heart because they are people of God. They say religion is what's really behind all the confusion in the world regarding the wars and everything else. Now, we're going to do a comparison between the religious powers and the political powers on the planet, right? Now, for instance, these local inquisitions, those who sought suspected criminals directly from the Vatican with absolute authority. Now, I am not a criminal. I think outside the box of the Roman Catholic Church, because common sense, because through me using common sense, I come from a culture that was in existence and lived before the Roman Catholic Church, which ties me to a spiritual bloodline of people who know who God is. It can, in comparison to the Roman Catholic Church that learned, where the Roman Catholic Church who in return learned from my ancestors. So there is no justifiable reason, you know what I'm saying, to mislabel me with a misnomer as a criminal, because I am identifying with my true roots, or us as a people identifying with our true roots, because that's who we really are. So in this later day and time, we find ourselves being persecuted for identifying with the truth of who we really are regarding our true roots, connected with the our ancestral rites of passage and things of these particular nature. Go to show you that you have certain people, who have problems with that are troublemakers. Indeed. So to break free from the mind control, this right here helped set the record straight as far as us embracing right knowledge, right, which is correct information that enable us to reason right in our mind with logic and reason, to the point where our behavior, where our behavior correspond with the reality of the truth of our teachings. Now, these local inquisitions, those who sought suspected criminals directly from the Vatican with absolute authority. The degree later part of the canon law came as a bull, a bulletin from the medieval era in March 1199 to the town of Viterbo, right? Heresy. According to Aquinas and canon law, heresy, religious error held to the truth after it had been defined and declared by the church in an authoritative manner. So, us as a people, we don't want to find ourselves in law. So we don't want to find ourselves in error. We don't want to find ourselves caught up in some kind of trick bag with where we exhibit through certain mannerism, right? That we display, right? Through bad judgment, right? Don't let bad judgment get us caught up in the clutches of negative institutional officials, or certain institutional officials, right? That want to that want to use that mannerism against you because you didn't know no better. That's why knowledge is power. Know thyself. Our ancestors always encourage us to know ourselves, so we can stay out of trouble and live righteous, to where we don't end up getting taken off of the path. The job of the evil ones is to take us off of the righteous path. So be mindful of that. Don't let the evil ones, don't let the evil ones' offerings, and don't let the evil ones, like the delicacies of the harlot, don't let the delicacies of the harlot, or the trinkets of the evil one, distract you off of the righteous path. Now, the word heresy is derived from a Greek word meaning free choice. At this point in time, witchcraft was considered heresy. Heresy was not only a sin, but a crime punishable by death. In other words, anyone who went contrary to the teachings of the church was automatically guilty of heresy. Now, for instance, the knowledge itself that we practice, rooted in divine scripture, is not witchcraft. That is divine revelations from the Most High, of the Most High, through natural nature, through the Netaru, the Netarat, the Netaru, which is a term that our indigenous Kemetic ancestors called through nature that we are connected with. In a language you can understand, the term God really, it's a European concept that we didn't speak in certain African territories like Egypt. The Most High to us was termed the Neteru, regarding the All, Al-Kalun, Allah, the Neteru. Now, in December 1484 AD, Pope Innocent the Eighth used a bull, which gave great prestige to the inquisitors. Within a few months of his election to the office of Pope, he started the inquisitions against witches, right? The Inquisition spread rapidly throughout Europe. The perversions of the church hierarchy, the Pope, bishops, cardinals, monks, etc., along with the courts and the sadistic inquisitors, plunged Europe from the 13th to the 17th century into a merciless bloodbath. The methods used in the Inquisitions may be summed as following. The accused was guilty until proven guilty. The accused was guilty until proven guilty. Suspicion, gossip, and denunciation was sufficient indication of guilt to held a person before the Inquisitions. All offenses were considered heresy. This justified any action taken by the inquisitors. No witness was allowed to testify on behalf of the accused. The judges were inquisitors, and they were encouraged to trick the accused into confessing. The practice of torture was regularly used and could be inflicted on any witness. It was a means to discover heresy. By Pope Innocent the Fourth in 1257 AD, and it was not abolished until 1816 by Pope Paul VII. Legal torture could not be repeated, but it could be and was legally continued until the accused confessed whatever was demanded of him. 3 sessions of torture were usual. Having confessed under torture, the accused in sight of the torture chamber had to repeat his confessions freely and spontaneously without torture. Every accused had to give or invent names of accomplices or those whom were suspected of heresy. Generally, no appeal was countenanced. The property of the accused was confiscated by the Inquisition. All hopes praised this practice as one of the strongest weapons in the fight against heresy. Confiscation was routine. As a result, as all records showed, and as the Inquisition even admitted, once one was accused, the chances of escaping death were almost non-existent. Then they got illustrations of the torture chambers and how they looked. You know what I'm saying? The Inquisition was used as a means to get rid of political threats and enemies. to acquire land and property. Like, and for instance, what they call the Papal Bull Doctrine of Discovery, um, that they had put out, where they went all over the world taking like indigenous people's lands, where the indigenous people justifiably had reasons to fight these forces off to maintain possession of their lands, right? This is real history based on pragmatic events, things that actually took place in history. So I'm not lying. These are not lies. This is based on truth and making sense of the realities of what we really dealing with in our world, on our planet that we call Earth, Tiamat, Key. This is basically encouraged through the spirit of right knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Now, millions perish by the cruel tortures used to gain confessions. There were accusations such as pacts with the evil one, attending the Sabbaths, bewitching others, causing death and destruction. Using it was routine to burn the accused while alive after confirming his or her confession. According to popular beliefs, the magical power of witches was contained in their blood and was transmitted to their children. Its potency for evil remained unimpaired by time unless destroyed by fire. The results was the custom of burning the bodies of the witches. The lycanthrope, the lycanthrope or werewolf was also a victim of the tortures of the Inquisitions. All were evil. All were accused of having made pacts with the malevolent one. And one popular belief was that the wolves' fur grew in reverse on the inside of the skin. Many accused werewolves had their thumbs really chopped off to seek proof of this belief. The methods of torture varied from place to place and from century to centuries, as well as hangman to hangman, hangman to hangman. Generally, the foulest tortures were committed in Germany. The foulest tortures was committed in Germany. Became synonymous in name with horror and shame. Nevertheless, the basic principles and procedures remain fairly constant throughout Europe over the centuries. On June 9, 1566, King James was born to Mary, Queen of Scotland. Upon his mother's death, a year later, 1567 AD, James was proclaimed king until the age of 7. He was unable to stand on his legs. He also shuddered badly. To make up for his weak and crooked body, he resolved to strengthen and develop his mind. James came into Britain, so among his students, witchcraft became one of his great interests. In 1611, James ordered a translation of the Bible to put into the English language. the best scholar in his realm went to work on the project, and when it came and when it was complete, when it was completed, it was declared before the king. This is the king being James. This is the King James version of the Bible that is most widely used to this day. Many people who were innocent of delving in witchcraft were killed. King James found witch hunting and killing a perfect excuse to eliminate his political enemies and to use this version of the Bible. Why were so many people not guilty of witchcraft, sadistically tortured and burned at the stakes? What you have to realize is the nature of the Amorites, these particular white people, tribe of white people, or branch of Europeans, had led you to believe that because of heresy, professed belief in the Creator, whom they refer to as God, these so-called witches had to be slain because of an act of heresy. In reality, Christianity has nothing whatsoever to do with Yahshua, Jesus, right? Or the real Messiah, the real Jesus, Black Jesus of 2,000 years ago. And it is nothing more than a political tool used as a means to enslave and control the minds of the people, regarding to enslave and control masses of people. Does that have a ring of truth to it? Is that reality? The truth is that these people in the medieval times did not want to be Christians. They were comfortable with their pagan gods and their old religions. The church had to go so far as to compromise with the pagan rites and holidays in order to win these people over to Christianity. The church and state is one, and they saw the religion of the horned deity or witchcraft as a threat to their power. The peasants and serfs in the medieval ages were mere slaves. They had to toil day and night for monks and noblemen. Several uprisings were staged by the lower classes and were quickly and efficiently suppressed. The early revolt showed that the large masses were dissatisfied with the church and they didn't want to. It was restrictive, hypocritical, and it wanted to control and regulate not only the peasant's life, but even every human emotion. For us to clearly see the hypocrisy and the lies propagated by the church, we must take a brief look at history of Christianity. The point of Christianity was to make us sons of Abraham. Forget who we are. We have even failed to a lower level of worshiping the evil one's image and his ways. Look at the world today. When we was told to bow, when he was told to bow to us, go in the Holy Quran, Surah 2, Ayat 30. Now, since Iblis and the evil ones was instructed to bow to us, right? Yeah, it didn't. Goes to show you, regarding this spiritual walk, how mighty and powerful we are as the star seeds, the chosen ones, and the golden children of the planet who have blood and DNA that's connected to the God seed. So regarding the lot of jealousies about us as black people or Nubians or Nuwabians, this is called this thing go way back a long time into the ancient worlds regarding the ancient jealousy of us. You know what I'm saying? The spiritual riches that we tied to connected to the natural riches of the planet, but yet been confused in the minds as to who we really are, to where we have fell victim to what's called a certain amnesia, to where we don't remember our true status of being products of the Most High's divine aim and purpose and creation for our lives, right? To where we have suffered amnesia, where we have fell under a hypnotic spell of the mind, rendering us ignorant, which is why certain forces want to keep us ignorant. Which is going to show you the program mentalities of a lot of our people who hate themselves, rooted in ignorance. They under a spell of self-hate and ignorance, right? So how can that spell be lifted off of their mind where their ignorance get replaced by right knowledge and self-love, to where our mannerisms are showing proof that we have woken back up? You know what I'm saying? Free from the hypocrisies. Right? Now, this resume to read, right? Let's see. Okay. To be free, right? From like living in the image of the beast, right? Christianity was the tool used by the Amorite to spellbind. Wait a minute. This is a good point here. Okay. In other words, Christianity and its proponents, right, sought to conquer and dominate large groups. Wait a minute. Let me see. Is that the area where I wanted to go to? No. Wait a minute. Hold on. Cause this is getting to the good part. Okay, now I'm gonna go right here. Okay, now what's the reason of politics? Now the political climate that we living in right now, it seems that the politics is very popular, very, very popular, right? People sick and tired of being used, where they votes get taken advantage of by people who leave us out of the benefits of the economics of the administrations, to where the rich is getting richer and the poor getting poor. You know what I'm saying? And you have people in denial out here who ain't got millions of dollars and who ain't really got it like that financially. You know what I'm saying? Act like they ain't poor when they poor as hell too. You know what I'm saying? They just getting by just like the next man. They may be riding good, you know what I'm saying, or appear like they, you know what I'm saying, doing good, this, that, and the third, but compared to these people, they is poor too. But still, they look down on people who got less than them. You know what I'm saying? As someone who is poor and ain't got nothing, you know what I'm saying, who are to be rejected to the point where they feel like they're on a better level than them based on what they worth worth financially, but spiritually ain't worth nothing. You know what I'm saying? Which is where the real value is at. That's why the Creator tells us, don't forget the purity in which you was created in. There's going to be a lot of deception on this planet to trick you out your soul. You know what I'm saying? Where the devil is going to sift most of y'all as wheat to where y'all going to end up being minions for the evil one. So by me paying attention to certain godly insights, like, look, guard yourself against evil. Separate yourself from the unclean things of the world. Listen to me. Put all your trust in me, and I'm going to direct your path through right knowledge, which is correct information that align you with the information that Partner Bab Yanun, you know what I'm saying, is in tune with. You know what I'm saying? Where the supreme wisdom that my God he has will be after the order of Melchizedek. You know what I'm saying? The warring angel who has the science to defeat the technology of the devil. You know what I'm saying? So, back to this. What is politics? Okay, according to, like, say for instance, the political plot. Okay, there is a political plot, right? Christianity is the broad term applied to doctrines and values which its adherents claim to have originated from pagan sources and which have been propagated ever since it was first organized in the year 300 AD in Rome. Christianity was created in Rome. Now, we come from cultures that predate Rome in Africa. It has always been the great influence on the lives of millions of people all over the world regarding Christianity. So once again, how did we get here as a people? Dealing with humanity in general all over the planet. You know what I'm saying? Dealing with the culture clashes, or like we supposed to be multicultural, yet the people don't operate as if we multicultural. Say for instance, right? I got my own free will individual impulse to act how I want, using my own free will, how I choose to, without having to worry about any backlash whatsoever coming from nobody about nothing, dealing with me wanting to associate with who I want to associate with and do business with, or spend my money with, or go where I want to go and come and go as I please, right? We individually, all races has this power, but yet you don't find them using a free will individual will. Say, you know what, I'm finna go over here. You know what I'm saying? As a Chinese man, I'm gonna go over here with this black woman at, or this black woman. I'm gonna go over here with this Chinese man there, or this Chinese woman. So I'm gonna go over here with this black man there, or this black man say I'm gonna go over here with this Chinese woman there, and we interact. Or white man go just go over here where this Korean woman there, or this Korean woman go with this white man there, or this Korean man go with this black woman at. You know what I'm saying? This black woman go with this Korean man at, or socialize and intermingle with one another from their own free will individual impulse, but yet each group stick to themselves. not exercising our free will individual impulse where we can freely interact with one another at will whenever we want to. Ain't nobody really doing that. Because, for instance, there seems to be a reality that are we supposed to be separate with respect to the other cultural ways and norms? You know what I'm saying? This is not about divisiveness. If real multiculturalism exists, is it something being pushed, or is it something unnatural, or is it something natural, or is it something being programmed into us, or is it some kind of social engineering trying to create something that hasn't happened, and by it's not happening yet? You know what I'm saying? What is the reason for it to not naturally just happen, as far as us really, you know what I'm saying, getting along with one another naturally without all of these political issues and challenges? Where in nature, by us being the human family, shouldn't we naturally be able to just click with each other? You know what I'm saying? Some of us do, some of us don't. Even though some of us do, which is a good thing, but yet some of us don't, which is also, I guess, a good thing, because it's not meant for us to be in each other's company type situation anyway, for whatever reason, because in each race individually, like us as a people, it's people of our own race we don't even want to deal with. So the bigger picture is ultimately, or even white people, they have people of their own racial stock they don't want to deal with. Then you have the caste systems in society. You know what I'm saying? But for instance, like say for instance, in our own race, certain people we don't even want to be dealing with. Yet certain people of a certain frequency is the only people we gonna deal with. You know what I'm saying? So in life, there's a duality. You know what I'm saying? To where there is certain opposites that just exist. But back to like, how did we get here though? Dealing with the politics. You know what I'm saying? From the topic of power, you know what I'm saying, to dealing with this political reality, religious conflicts, and this term about the politics, to where, like this was speaking on the political plot. Is certain religions tied into certain politics, political plots, you know what I'm saying, that is hiding behind certain military psyops, you know what I'm saying, that is an operation of this agenda, you know what I'm saying, on this mission regarding the grand chessboard on the planet, dealing with land grabs and stuff like and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And economy manipulations. Okay, politics is defined in Webster's New World Dictionary as a fictional scheming within a group. Now wait a minute. So the arena, in the arena of politics, right? So in the arena of politics, there is a masquerading going on. There's real people who have certain legal mentalities, right? is a part of something called a fictional scheming within the groups that they are in, the circles they are in. They telling us one thing, but that's fictional scheming. See what I'm saying? Now, why is a definition like that even possible when talking about the politicians dealing with political circles, right? Fictional scheming within a group. Within this group, they are scheming, kicking nothing but fictions to the people. Yet, we're behind closed doors. You know what I'm saying? They cooking up all kind of recipes for millions of dollars to come to them and not us. Just something to think about, you know what I'm saying? Because us as a country, you know what I'm saying, this idea, the American people, shouldn't we be enriched with lots of money as well? Why should we be going through all these struggles with all these tricks and schemes to get $1? You know what I'm saying? Reparations is due. All these realities, you know what I'm saying, where you have some kind of jealous forces don't want us to have nothing. But the Most High wants us to have everything. Yet, these people in these political circles, right, call themselves people of God or Christians or people who have the power to create certain legislation for money to reach us in mass amount economic, you know what I'm saying, ways for money to just proliferate in our life, you know what I'm saying, to really stimulate the economy. But see, I noticed something. When Trump spoke about the country being in a certain amount of debt, we're going to see if this debt really get relieved, you know what I'm saying? And certain research we can do, you know what I'm saying, to see between the lines of what our people in these highest elected official offices be saying, be true or not. But giving the Trump administration the benefit of the doubt, getting the house in better order than it was in, you have our full support. Yet there's a bigger picture to this that's going on when it comes to the healing of the people and the people being financially secure, right? Secure with housing, secure with food security, secure with being able to travel, come and go as we please, with our rights protected. A lot of us who in our right minds, we do have our eyes on the benefits of our God-given rights, because the divine laws of the Creator is where all the power lies in terms of how we are to socialize with one another, to where we're supposed to want for our brother what we want for ourselves, which is the highest divine spiritual principle of our spirituality and religions. Yet our way of regarding our way of life, you know what I'm saying, that's the highest principle, to where we will want to see for our brothers and sisters what we want to see for ourselves. And that right there is what we are to uphold as true spiritual principles that is of the Most High. Now, back to this particular reality of what this term means about politics. Politics is defined in the Webster's New World Dictionary as a fictional scheming within a group. But we know it's other connotations to that meaning. But this one in particular, though, fictional scheming within a group. So these certain circles is plotting all kind of lies to us, right? You know what I'm saying? When we are thinking, when we are giving them the benefit of the doubt, like they speaking truth to me. That is some deep stuff, man. That's why the mind magicians are real. Now, for instance, what you may ask, does politics have to do? What you may ask, does politics, what does politics have to do with Christianity? If you closely examine its history and heroes, you will find facts saying that this man-made religion is nothing but politics. It has been the vehicle which enables the evil one, Samael. Samael means poison those of El, to pursue and reach his political aims. The proof is that everywhere the doctrine of Christianity has been propagated, the recipients became the subjects of that nation which sponsored the teachers. From that point onwards, every facet of their lives were governed by and according to the whims of that nation. In other words, Christianity and its proponents sought to conquer and dominate large groups of nations and people to satisfy their own greed in earthly things, or their own greed, or to satisfy their own greed for earthly things. At the same time, they were conquered to make their establishment mentally rich, materially rich. At the same time, they were conquering to make their establishment materially rich. They taught their victims to negate earthly gains. Furthermore, they trampled upon the cultures and languages of the people who were indoctrinated and embedded in their minds an essential inferiority. Christianity was the tool used by the Amorites to spellbind the Amirs who were brought to America in slave ships and forced to build the Amorites' empire in America. These Amirs, princes, are the Nubians living in the Western Hemisphere, talking about us, right? Who are still mentally enslaved by the evil one. Shakar, his accomplishments, Shakar has accomplished this action in the name of religion. Yet it is contrary to the teachings which are supposedly to be upheld. Thus, so-called Christianity is not only politics, it is also a gross hypocrisy. Christianity, as it is known today, came into existence within the period of time that the teachings of Rabboni Yahshua were first brought to Greece and Rome, until its acceptance as the official state religion of the Roman Empire. In that span of time, most, if not all, of the original 12 disciples had passed on to a higher life, and the gospel was left to be propagated by men who had not known Rabboni Yahshua. Some of these men had only second and third hand reports to go by. Thus, they were more susceptible to influence of other men seeking their own fame, right? Then they got this illustration. The tortures of the Inquisition were the product of a sick and demented mind. It is very important that we pause for a moment to state a few necessary facts about Rabboni Yahshua, right? Jesus was not an Amorite or white person or European with long blonde hair as the evil one portrays him in his movies and pictures. He was of the pure seed of the line of the prophet Adam. Read scroll refer to the real Jesus, Yahshua, leading to Horus of Egypt. Rabboni Yahshua Jesus was not the universal prophet as you have been led to believe. He was sent to the tribe of Israel only to bring them back to the remembrance of El Elo. Muhammad was also universal because what he taught could be applied by people around the world. But he was not sent to all people on the earth. Just like the teachings of Yahshua, Jesus can be applied today by people around the world. Yet he was only sent to the tribe of Judah. Matthew 10, 6, 15, 24, 18, 11. Yahshua is not the flesh and blood son of the Most High Creator, El Kalak, as taught in the Christian doctrine. Quran, Surah 10, Ayah 68. The horned God, as he appeared in the Paleolithic times. Below the evil one, Samael, as the ram and the five-pointed star. Torch symbol of liberty, right? Dealing with the Baphomet symbol that was designed by Eliphas Levi, right? The Goda Mendez head, the torch symbol of liberty. So by this being a symbol of freedom for some, is it a symbol of imprisonment for others? Right? Now you have this 13th self-appointed apostle individual whose name is Paul, who really a lot of Christians have to become aware of, that the type of style of Christianity that they are practicing actually was created by this individual called Paul. Paul, called Saul, the 13th self-appointed apostle, was responsible for spreading the false religion of Christianity. He was neither a disciple, follower, or supporter of Yahshua. Paul never met Yahshua directly or indirectly. However, by way of an acclaimed vision, he has been able to swallow the whole world up in his newfound doctrine of Christianity. Acts 26, 14 through 16. Paul altered the teachings of Jesus or Yahshua, as well as indoctrinated or introduced the concept of the Trinity. He outwardly admits that he used lies, deception to gain his followers. Romans 3:7. Paul's father was a Judahite by name only. So Paul was born a Roman, Grecian, Hebrew. In other words, a reformed Judahite, a Gentile. Paul, was of a mixed seed, and his father had long since left the laws of Moses. Paul's father, had reformed. With Paul's changes of the laws of the Torah, you can find the contradictions in the following of Paul's letters. One where the witness heard a voice but saw nothing. Another heard a voice but was speechless, and saw a light but heard not a voice. What is it in these areas of the scriptures of the Bible that is speaking about these things in Acts 9, 4 through 7, Acts 22, 7 through 9, and Acts 26, 13 through 14, referring to Paul as a disciple of Christ or deceiver of the people of the world? How did Christianity become the religion of Rome? The two men who throughout history are known to be the saviors of Christianity are the very same evil ones, Amorites. Amorites responsible for the lies and distortions within the Christian doctrine. In the year 313 AD, Emperor Constantine the Great reigned from 324 to 327 AD, issued the Edict of Milan, thereby ending the persecution of Christians. The shrewd evil one saw the unity and strength of the small congregations and knew that it had great potential, gain, and power. The Edict of Milan was not pro-Christian manifest. However, it gave the Christians the right. It gave the Christians the right to worship, placing them on the same level as the pagans. Dealing with the Nicene Council now. Meanwhile, under the rule of Constantine the Great, the Nicene Council was organized to settle the differences of opinions pertaining to the scriptures. It approved what should and should not be taught in the church and sanctioned certain pagan ideas and customs which were said to be the teachings of Yeshua. The Council of Nicene was responsible for the teachings of the Trinity concept and was also responsible for subtracting the scrolls of Barnabas, one of the lost books of the Bible. The scrolls of the prophet Barnabas was subtracted from the Bible because Barnabas had a brother to Yeshua from Joseph's former wife. Halsah recorded the prophecy and other truths that could not be altered concerning the life and teachings of Yeshua. Barnabas is recognized as one of Yeshua's most trustworthy disciples. This is due to the fact that he was the disciple who prophesied the coming of the Comforter regarding the Prophet Muhammad. When the Nicene Council, banned the scroll of Barnabas, who was also known as Barnabas from the Bible, they called it apocryphal, meaning hidden. In Rome, several converts were gained for a while. The Roman authorities tolerated their growing numbers without complaint. Gradually, the Romans realized that this body of people were very unified and had secluded themselves from the rest of the citizens of Rome to perform sacrifices before the emperor's image. The Christians were fed to the lions in the great arenas and subjugated to other forms of torture. Revelations 2:10. Right? At As previously stated, the Nicene Council formed this Trinity concept to solve the problem created by separating their deity into three distinct personalities: the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. The Latin and Greek words were substituted in their mistranslated version of the Bible, thereby covering up the truth and indoctrinating more lies. The Trinity is pagan origin, and every polytheistic culture has their own representation of it. Common sense tells you that the three persons yet one God theory is impossible because 1 plus 1 plus 1 does not equal 1. God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Ghost. 3 cannot go into 1. There is no such thing as 3 parts mathematics. With their paganism added to the Christian, look, let's go on and on, dealing with eye-opening information. This goes on with wake-up information. Waking up, opening our eyes, waking us up. With their paganism added to the Christian doctrine and their lies well underway, Constantine the Great succeeded in making Christianity acceptable to the pagan masses of the Roman Empire, like we have in this superpower of this empire. You know what I'm saying? People minds is full of all kind of indoctrinated teachings that have went unchecked. That's still programs running in people's heads, going unchecked, that cause that really is the root source of a lot of the personality like defects people have out here that cause people to end up being antisocial because they want to be around people because people be acting real strange out here. You know what I'm saying? And like sheeple struck. You know what I'm saying? Now, this goes on to read. The next evil one, Amorite, responsible for destroying and adhering. The next evil one, Amorite, responsible for destroying and adulterating the truth was Emperor Theodosius of Rome, 379 to 395 AD. During the reign of Theodosius, the old pagan religion Christianity became the official religion of the empire, the Roman Empire. Theodosius gave the bishops a place in the state and recognized their jurisdiction in all matters that concerned the lives of the Christian population. This is when the church and state became one. The feast days of the church became public holidays, and Lent became a holy season. Teachings of Yahshua to assure the safety and security of the lies which are the foundation of the Christian doctrine. Emperor Theodosius ordered the great libraries of Alexandria in Kemet, Egypt, to be burned, thus destroying all traces of the truth. The lost libraries of Alexandria toward the end of the ancient Kim's glorious era was as an empire. Alexandria was one of the ancient world centers for learning. That's going back to our Egyptian culture and ancestors, right? We have such a great reverence for learning and having the know-how for certain mathematical feats and the beauty of certain creations, being creators. You know what I'm saying? By us being people who know who God is, that all the, like for instance, the Greek scholars of antiquity, or the Greek scholars from back in them days, right, came to Egypt to be educated. Later, for us to find out that a lot of Greek philosophy is stolen Egyptian philosophy. We are a great people. This goes on to read, right? Wow, those great centers of learning. It was built, the lost libraries of Alexandria toward the end of ancient Kim's glorious era was as an empire. Alexandria was one of the ancient world centers of learning. It was built under the order of Alexander the Great, and it became the trade center of the Mediterranean. It quickly grew into a metropolis, serving as the one capital of Kemet after the throne of Ptolemy was overtaken. Alexandria's prosperity lasted for 9 centuries. Through it was large, populated, and wealthy. The most famous attraction about Alexandria was the great libraries and their learning complexes, which were called museums by the Latins. It was one of the schools that stored El Yahuwah's knowledge for man. See what I'm saying? The knowledge of the Most High for us to get is to perfect our beings with. This knowledge was possessed by the ancient kingdom Salam, ruled by Malki Sadiq, prior to Christian era. 700,000 of the most valuable books written upon parchment, papyrus, vellum, kata, and wood were housed to the Alexandrian libraries. The sciences, mathematics, medical technology, all the ancient knowledge which far surpassed the Amorites' so-called modern up-to-date advancements were destroyed in a series of fires. The first fire took place in 51 BC during the time of Cleopatra's reign. Caesar ordered a fleet of ships to be burned at the docks. One of the buildings which housed the knowledge of the ancients, baby, was undergoing repairs. Those that were not duplicated were stored away in the house of one of the librarians. As the fleet of ships burned, the building situated nearest the harbor caught fire. The librarians, along with several hundreds of slaves, ran to save these volumes from their fiery destruction. The most precious of these volumes were believed to be saved in 389 AD under the order of Emperor Theodosius. The Christian stormed Alexandria and destroyed by fire. The Serapis, the building in which the volumes were kept. Why, you may ask, would the man who firmly established Christianity as the religion of the Roman Empire have all the knowledge given to man by the Most High destroyed? It's simple. He is the evil one. These are works of the evil one. The Amorite is the physical manifestation of Azazel. He is Shaitan, and he cannot live according to the laws and commandments of the Most High. It is not in his nature. The evil one has you blind to the facts, and after centuries of lying, stealing, murdering, raping, and destroying, he has built empire after empire, leading millions upon millions of souls astray in the name of deity and religion. Now remember when I was like, remember not to get led astray from the straight path. The straight path, right? It's a path to stay divinely protected on. Now, for instance, witchcraft and Christianity. Now that you understand that Christianity is based on lies and pagan roots, we can compare the similarities of Christianity and witchcraft. The point I am making is that Christianity is witchcraft in reality, and it is the worship of the evil one. So remember this, right? Satan said, I'm going to make what's right look wrong and what's wrong look right. Right? To where you can see this is a fact of life, because you can see how the evil one used religion and mask it as witchcraft. Or you can see how the evil one used witchcraft and mask it as religion before our eyes, and take us deep down and take people's minds and weave a web deep into the truth of the scriptures, but come out scriptures as a person being deceived, thinking you are carrying into practice a certain religious ideology that's rooted in truth, when it's actually rooted in lies that has been created by the evil one. It's all about mind trickery. You know what I'm saying? So that's why the Most High was like, I wouldn't have my people to be in ignorance. You know what I'm saying? This crown I'm wearing right here represent the pyramids, the storehouse of the Most High supreme wisdom and mathematics of the cosmos. You know what I'm saying? Being a god of the universe, we represent the gods and goddesses of the universe in our culture. So let me see something. It's an area that I wanted to get to, right? Hold on, let me save some time here. Yeah, I was looking for the particular information I was trying to find, right? Now, for instance, dealing with the reflections, regarding the master teacher, Panabab known for us to take into consideration our true cultural norms, right? And divine messages to free us from getting caught up in taking falls out here, right? We have to know the nature of the evil one in order for us Nubians here in the wilderness of North America or the Western Hemisphere, right? To release himself from the evil or to release himself from the spell that renders him deaf, dumb, and blind, the spell for Leviathan. He must understand the nature of the evil one, the downfall of the black people or Nubians, right? The downfall of the Nubians, right, is the fact that you refuse to acknowledge the evil one for what he really is. You want to believe he is some spooky being dressed up in a red suit complete with horns, tails, and hooves. This, however, is a fantasy. Now think about how so many fantasies, illusions, and fairy tales has been inculcated in the minds of our people that done developed so much in the minds of our people's minds to where our people's minds is full of all kind of fantasies and irrealities as far as like certain information that done developed in a lot of our people's minds, right, do not correspond with reality, which is something y'all got to snap out of and get in tune with the real reality through waking up, through the divine teachings of the messengers, apostles, and reformers, and sages. You know what I'm saying? That came for us to take certain information into consideration to save ourselves with. You know what I'm saying? Much love to the civic studies of Nova Jurali as well. You know what I'm saying? And Panabab Yanun came to set the record straight. And thanks to restoring our true roots back to us, we may grow, blossom, and bloom into the beautiful gods and goddesses that we are. But yet there's still a divine brainwashing that has to take place where we are to cleanse our minds, you know what I'm saying, of a lot of the filth and dirt and indecency and with certain program information, you know what I'm saying, done rearranged our minds with to where we find ourselves acting out a dysfunctional culture. You know what I'm saying? Where in the eyes of civilized people, a lot of our people still look like savages in pursuit of happiness when we not savages at all. You know what I'm saying? Even certain cultures know that we gods, but due to the atrocities of the enslavement that caused our people to fall to a low state, you know what I'm saying, to where a lot of our people, they is not vibrating high, they vibrating on low levels still. You know what I'm saying? To where they gotta work on themselves to get up out of that low vibratory state through correct, right knowledge that serves as a roadmap to help rise into higher consciousness through us having the willpower to want to get better and to tune into our higher selves mentally so we can become more spiritually in tune and refined. You know what I'm saying? With the most high, divine aim and purpose and remembrance, you know what I'm saying, in our minds for our lives to outsmart the tricknology of the devils. You know what I'm saying? So this, however, is a fantasy of what the evil one, Azazel, really is. Read the following quotes careful and see if you can gain an understanding of the nature of the evil one for the scripture, Genesis 3:14-15. Right? The previous quote has made it perfectly clear, that the evil one has his own race, seed, and they would have an enmity, a deep-seated hatred between the descendants of Zakar and the race of the evil one. The word enmity means ill will, mutual hatred, antipathy, animosity, and rancor. This is a perfect description of the relationship between the whites and blacks, the Amorites and Nubians. Now, wait a minute. This is given a description for us to identify what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was teaching us regarding the races, right? There's a difference between Amorites and us Nubians. Of course, they not like us. We not like them. So with that clear distinction, the scriptures was talking about there would be a separation between the sheep and the goat regarding symbolisms of the races. Sheep have woolly hair like this. The goats have long flank hair that's not like this. It's a different texture. So with these racial traits between the God seed and the ungodly seed, but yet the master teacher pointed out that no one wins the race and racism. It's not about racism. It's about truth. So in speaking the truth, right, regarding the genetic reality and physical and spiritual differences of us as a people, due to the injustices that white people have committed against us, like in that book called Without Sanctuary, or the book The 100 Years of Lynching, which is documented information and also pictorial views of black people being brutalized by abuses of a demented-minded people with a racism disease in their head against black people, where they committed all kind of unfair treatment against us as a people, to where we will look to these people as pure devils. Only the devil can do these things. So that's not us calling white people out their name. That is based on behavior patterns of what people have actually done that's written throughout history. And when it comes to the bigger picture all over the globe, dealing with the usurpation of people's lands. So that don't let off the hook the black devils, because remember, in order for the devil to exist, where did the devil originate from? Let's take it deeper. Would nothing exist if God didn't create it? According to the scriptures, Satan didn't even create himself. So if the ultimate source of evil comes from God, does that say God is evil? No. We are created in a universe of truth. The essence of the Most High is rooted in truth and in love. For whatever reason, something's beyond our comprehension. Some things is beyond. For real though. Some things is beyond our comprehension with our finite minds. You know what I'm saying? In the constant evolution of our learning to have mastery of the spirit realm. Yet, there is a reality that you have a God seed in the scriptures and a devil seed in the scriptures. Right? Yet, when we use comprehension through the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad by the European nation being a manifestation of our lower self, yet they may manifest creating a world, right, that reflect the manifestation of our lower self, right? So if they the physical expression of us as a product of our creation, that goes to show you what's inside of us. Yet you have white people that want to do good, that does good. Does that render them a devil? Let's talk about it. They say, well, the nature in which they was created in was unrighteous. Yet they come from us who have a righteous nature. So if genetics is correct, a genetic trait is a genetic trait where it can't act other than the trait in which it's programmed to do. So how is it possible for us to do evil to the point where we have became our own worst enemy, to where, like people say, our people done got worse than a white man and woman, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to how we treat one another with the black on black madness. You know what I'm saying? So to eradicate all of this unrighteousness out of ourselves as humanity, you know what I'm saying, to get the evil up out of us as a humanity, get the evil garbage up out of our internal mechanisms, you know what I'm saying, spirit, mind, and body. You know what I'm saying? The solutions is in the true teachings of the Most High. We just have to work on ourselves as a collective for humanity. Yet, in this world, good and evil, this solution is not going to hit home with everybody, because somebody on this earth are of an evil seed of evildoers of wickedness. Yet a lot of us are the God seed who are righteous beings to do righteousness in the earth through righteousness. Right? Yet the war continue, the struggle continue, where for us, who consider ourselves of the God seed, I am of the God seed. This is my confession. I am of the God seed. To where I am to strive for perfection. I'm imperfect, living in an imperfect world. And a lot of y'all imperfect, living in this imperfect world. Yet we striving for perfection, to do the right thing, right? For further confirmation, to get our mind right with proper terminologies of who we are as a people. For instance, like this particular reading material, right, about Ma'at Kemetic soulism, getting our souls back right in alignment with our mind, and our mind in alignment with the true terminologies of our culture, right? It may be a challenge, but listen to these terms. The theme expounded upon in this book, Ma'at Kemetic soulism, is one of the foremost challenges confronting the African mind today. While Ma Zerutep does not spare the Western races Apopian, his sect Median rage. He places the responsibility for pre-surrection, reclamation, and reconstruction of the African spirit and psyche squarely in the hands of Africans themselves. This is something we must do to do the necessary work to get our mind back in proper shape by certain forces taking our mind out of shape through mental raping, psychological rape of misinformation, right? Increasingly, right, from the 60s to the present, Black scholarship has focused on concentrated eye on ancient Egyptian history, cosmogony and cosmology. The study of the Kemetic paradigm has been intense, yet a return to the Ma'atian values that govern African existence is advancing at a turtle's pace. The weekend Feel Good Black History fix brought to us by Black scholars, lecturers, lasts just so long. On Sunday is back to church, and on Monday morning back to the plantation. Only here and there will you find those who walk the walk that they talk, right? As far as walking this walk, living in the image of our true ancestors and living in the image and likeness of the true living gods of our ancestors. Much love to our ancestors in the realm of the Egungun that's alive and well in the spirit realm that we have connections to while we on this side. Look, this is a continuous cycle, you know what I'm saying, of life's processes for us to stand in our right minds, you know what I'm saying, against the witchcraft to try to get us off the path and out of our right mind. You know what I'm saying? So positive energy, activate constant elevation for a lot of us who are striving for perfection with righteous intentions. You know what I'm saying? And We keep building. That's what we do. So I just wanted to come before y'all, a few minutes, you know what I'm saying, with these positive words of encouragement. You know what I'm saying? Stay up, my people, and we are the winners. Much love.